Welcome back to the Broken Tire Tailgate Show here at LaSalle High School, WLSN, and I have with me he studied under me for quite a few years.
Yes, I did.
I'm kidding.
I'm still learning.
I was an intern back when Ken Broo doesn't remember me, I know, but I know you do because we had some folks that ran around some same circles. I met Ken Broo when Walt Mayer was working down at Local 12, and I came in there, and Ken looked at me and said, "Who in the world is that guy?"
And he's going to say that again when he gets up here on the stage.
He probably does, but for folks that don't know, George Vogel from WLWT on with us, and also from WLWT, and also Sunday Morning Sports Talk. He is Ken Broo, and guys, welcome. Now, this is big time. You guys been on Channel 5, but you haven't been on WLSN yet, have you?
No, this is huge. Tremendous. Nice to be here by the tailgate area, too.
Who is this guy?
This guy, he used to know Walt Mayer back in the day.
So did I.
And he said he caught a glimpse of you one day in the office.
Can I tell you something?
He didn't say what you were doing.
Well, I just want to say these microphones are better than what we use.
Yeah, they are. In fact, we'll unplug these and take them with us.
That's exactly right.
We'll use them next week at our game.
We had a guy who made a donation when I was over at Kings, and I'm told these are very similar to what WLW
Wait a minute. You were at Kings and got the equipment and then bring it down.
How you like them
Boy,
apples?
you're slick.
Isn't that nice?
I'm not getting any deals with you.
Bring it back to the alma mater, man. First of all, I guess for folks that don't know, we are the Skyline Game of the Week, and Tom Gable and his crew brought you guys here. First, I got to ask, what's it like going from high school venue to high school venue? George, I guess we'll start with you.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, you get to see every week you get to see great turnouts at these games, whether, it's a GCL school, you're always going to get good turnouts there. But I got to tell you, you go from the 80s and through the 90s, and now you're seeing a lot of these public schools catch on and see what happens and how it goes. And I think you've always seen it pretty much at these venues. But now – you go to a Mason, it's a circus up there. You go to the Lakota schools, you go to Oak Hills, you go anywhere, and people are pumped up about Friday night and seeing their kids go out there and compete. And you see scenes like this now all over the city where I used to think it was just the very best of the best schools at that point.
Doc, I can tell you this, no place like LaSalle.
Yes!
We love coming here because of the enthusiasm of the students, but also because it's like – it's the thing to do. It really is. I love coming here. In fact, when the season begins, we always pick the game. We start with where is LaSalle, and we build everything out from around that. And I'm not saying that because I'm sitting up here right now.
I was just going to ask George.
No.
Does he always say that?
No, because he knows, and George knows.
I'm not going to cross the boss here.
No, there's certain places where you want to go, and this is one of the places where we always want to come.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, every year we do target coming back to LaSalle. There's other schools on our list that we target every year because of the response you get, the cooperation you get with the administrations. And look at this tailgate area. I mean, come on. Look at that. That is
unbelievable.
I think that's better than what I saw at X a couple weeks ago.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Right.
And this is tape recorded. We might play that again over and over and over again.
I meant St. X in Louisville.
Good cover-up.
Nice recovery.
But you guys do a tremendous job with your high school sports. How do you do that, and how do you put all that together when you do that on a Friday night, when you do it over the week? I mean, looks very complicated how you guys go about doing that.
It is. It really and truly, on the list of things to do, there's brain surgery, and then there's putting together a blitz every Friday night. Really, and sometimes two becomes one. No, we have a lot of great photographers, which I think that's where it begins with. You can't be a master chef unless you have great ingredients, and we have tremendous videographers. The other thing, too, is we've got, I think, the best coordinator on the planet for this stuff, a guy by the name of Andy Pierce, who really and truly, it's his heart, his soul, and he just puts everything into it. And for George and I, it's kind of like setting him up. We just knock him down. It's kind of like duck pin bowling. I mean, you just set them up and we can knock them down.
Yeah, it all kind of happens around us, and we're just there, trying not to get in the way until Friday night at 10:30 when we're there. Going through the tapes, the highlights, seeing but the photographers actually, pretty much set it up on a platter for us, and it's a good thing they do if you know us well. And someone has to do it.
And in the last few years, George and I have taken to drinking, beginning at about 9:30, and by the time 11:15 comes, we're really, pretty well.
I don't think you're joking
lubricated.
about that.
Well, I'm pushing to start at 4:30 next year.
That's right.
We may as well do it for the pregame show
Hey,
too.
man, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Hey, Ken, let me ask you something. You left to go to Washington, and you came back. What was that like when you came back to Cincinnati, the Queen City, which I know you call home? What was that like for you?
Well, I tell everybody it's great being back in America. because going out there, it was like a 4-year hiatus from living in this country. I laugh every time we get to November in an election year because I've seen the sausage. I know how it's made.
How long were you there?
And 4 years.
4 years. Okay.
And it doesn't matter who's in charge or who's in command or what party's in power. It's all the same. And everybody there is from somewhere else. You don't have this here, there because everybody's from somewhere else. It's either government or military. Here it's neighborhoods, and you went to LaSalle because your dad went to LaSalle because your granddad went to LaSalle. There, it's 2 years and out, or in some cases, less than that.
Yeah, it does seem to be a transient place, even though I've only been transient when I'm there, in and out, just like the people who allegedly live there.
Now, George, how long have you been? You've been in 5 since Jesus Christ was lieutenant, I think, weren't you?
Yeah, well, certainly it was
Nice.
about the time he took a walk on water, I think.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nice.
And it took that kind of miracle to keep me there that long. Because
the question that people like – go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I've been fired several times. I've just ducked a bullet.
I got to learn how to duck.
Yeah, well,
are you the boss? Who's the boss here? I thought
Not me.
He's the boss.
Oh, I'm not.
He's the boss.
All right, I'm going to ask this because it's a common question. I get people. I've heard people ask both you guys. Are some of your memorable sports stories? I think I've heard a couple of yours, George, when you were here. But for those that might be listening,
I think you're under arrest, to be honest with you. You're going to pull the plug.
He's the guy that helped put all this set together. Steve Sabers, an incredible job. A LaSalle grad and one of Hamilton County's finest.
Okay.
There he is. All right. That got me
Don't
out
let him tell any
ticket.
stories about us.
No, he's got a couple too, I think.
Put those cuffs away.
Tell me some of your most memorable memories as working with the media.
Ken, I think, let's see, were you there? No, you just left.
Look who's here.
But,
Look who's here. Your nemesis
right.
is here.
Matt Miller. He's not a nemesis. I guess technically. I better
He was.
stop
You guys
right
used to
there.
be co-workers.
Yeah, we were. We were tight in a day. And then he just took off and left me to deal with Mr. Broo.
Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. Whatever. Is he working?
I can tell you what people tell me, but go ahead.
Well, one of the ones that sticks out for me, and you just missed this, Kim, when we were in Pittsburgh, and I bring this up because it's playoff time, and the Reds and Pirates are playing in the playoffs, and they set up Jerry Springer, who was our news anchor at the time, right below what was the walkways coming out of what was Three Rivers Stadium. We're doing a live newscast after the game. Well, unfortunately for Jerry, the game ends right as the newscast is coming on, and the Reds won that game in Pittsburgh. And they see Cincinnati media down there. So what do you think happens to poor Jerry? He needed a hard hat in a hurry. Nachos, beers, anything anybody could get their hand on comes raining down on him. They had to go away from the shot. They come to him to start the news. He's like, I'm literally being besieged, he said. And he's like, well, we're going to have to come back. They had to throw it to some other people. And, Jerry looked like he got a good dose of nacho sauce on him that night.
That's a good story, but when you telling that story, it got my memory going here. What about the one where your photog had the video of was it something that happened in the clubhouse?
Was it Lou and
Lou and Pinella? Yeah, Lou and Rob Dibble.
Tell that story. That's an incredible story.
That's the night that Dibble said he couldn't warm up for an injury or something, and Lou said that Dibble didn't tell him that, and eventually, the reporters are going back and forth. Well, they go to Lou and say, well, Dibble said this. Well, this is rah, 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 rah. They go back to Dibble. Well, Lou just said this. Well, Lou's a lying, rah, rah, rah. And then, well, hey, Lou, and then out comes Lou, and it's on. And our photographer's on it, and they're rolling around on the floor trying to throw punches and yelling at each other. And so then they break it up, and our guy's walking out of the clubhouse with his camera, and one of the assistant coaches is chasing him out going, you can't show that. Do you have film in there? Do you have film in there? And the photographer's like, no, I don't have film in there. And then under his breath, he said, I have videotape. So he gets out of there because he did not have film in the camera.
That was a classic story. That's one of my favorite. Ken, I know you. Last question. I know you got some stories to tell.
Well, invariably, if you work in this town in this business, they all come back to Springer. And in my Springer stories, we're at the Super Bowl down in Miami, and it's Friday night. And back then, there was some sanity to our business. There were no weekend early morning newscasts, which are the bane of everybody's existence right now. So we didn't have anything to do on Saturday at all until I think it was 11 o'clock at night. So Springer and I said we had never been to South Beach. So we drive out to South Beach.
I like the way this is starting.
And
you'll like the way it is.
We get out to South Beach and we meet about 5 or 6 Bengal cheerleaders at this bar, one of whom is the woman that's cut my hair for the last 25 years. So we go out to South Beach. We're at the bar, and we meet them, and it's 12:30, and it's 1 o'clock, and it's getting to be closing time there. And the idea was, well, let's see what the water feels like. So we go running into the water, fully clothed with these 6 Bengal cheerleaders, completely soaked to the bone. And then it hits you, wait a minute. How do we dry off? What do we do? Mind you, we still have the car. So we go back to the car and get in the car. Springer's driving. And we decided it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's go get something to eat. So we're going to go to Denny's. So we have 6 Bengal cheerleaders, me and Springer. That makes 8 in just one of these little sedans. And I got one of them, I forget whom, on my lap. And we're driving back from South Beach into Miami. We wind up at Denny's at 4 o'clock in the morning. And the only group is the 8 of us, and then over here is like these 4 guys that look like they crawled out from underneath a rock. Okay, just
and
dirty.
You guys look great, I'm sure.
Filthy,
look like elder guys.
Dirty, filthy. They kind of look like the land they were representatives from the land of the unkept. And it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're eating our eggs and bacon and all that. And one of these guys gets up, and if he's a pound, he's 350. And he's got chains on him somehow, like something hanging off him that's a chains, and he's got a leather coat on, and he comes walking towards us. And we thought it would be like that line from Animal House. Do you mind if we dance with your dates? One of those deals. But the guy comes up, and Springer is sitting in his booth, and he's getting lower and lower. Hey, they're coming up to us. What should I do? I said, tell him you're Jerry Springer. They're going to hit me. The guy comes up, and he looks at the guy and goes, are you Jerry Springer? And he goes, yeah. I watch you all the time, man. I'm from Hebron, Kentucky. I think you're just the best. Come on over here, boys. It is
all the way
Springer.
in South Beach.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there looking at me. How do you feel now? Yeah, pretty good. This isn't bad. That's my Jerry Springer story.
That's a good one. Yeah. I don't know. It takes a tough one to top that one, George.
No, yeah. No, I missed all the fun in Miami. In fact, I had to jump on Tom Brenneman had too much fun on Sunday night. We were coming back on a Monday. Remember that? I was going to fly back on this dude's private jet.
Right.
And Brenneman was going to come back commercial at about 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
6 o'clock, I'm here, and bang, 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 and it's somebody that was going to fly with Brennan. I can't wake Tom up. You got to get on the commercial flight. So and Tom takes the private jet back.
There were a lot of people that had fun.
Boy, never looked back at me either.
A lot of people on that trip from Channel 5 that had fun.
Oh, yeah, it was everyone.
It was Sodom and Gomorrah before it was all said and done.
I got a question. I could have asked Matt this as much as he's been hanging around here, but I've noticed that a lot of the local media stays local. And maybe that's just happen chance, or maybe that happens all throughout media throughout the country, or is that just something that's different here?
I think it's a little more different here, but you've been around a little more than me and hell of a lot longer.
I'll tell you what it is. There's no difference from station to station or city to city. They all have problems. They all have idiots that you have to answer to. They all have idiots that you work below. It's just the fact of the matter is I equate it to like a card game where the stakes are higher maybe in Washington or New York or L.A., but the game's the same. There's just more chips, more money. But everybody's got the same problem. So there really is no difference. You pick a place that you really like and what's not to like about this town, and you stay here. And that's the mistake I did. The mistake I made is I didn't listen to my own advice. If you think this place is a great place to live, leave it.
And then you'll know. Grass is greener on the other side.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Guys, I want to thank you for joining us. I know you guys got off the air. You probably want to head out and maybe go down to find some girls in Hebron or wherever they were from again. But
South Beach,
Hebron, whatever it is.
We know the girls in Hebron. We know the girls in Hebron.
Right now, I'm just looking forward to get out here and party with Uncle Charlie and Danny Cronin and people like that.
Where's Danny? Where he told me he was going to be. There he is right there.
He's got a cup in his hand, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not
Where's
a red
Mick?
Solo cup.
Is Mick around here?
Mick doesn't come around these parts. When Dan's here, he doesn't like to come around.
We have video of Mick. I found this about a month ago while I was looking for something else. We have video of Mick in our dungeon where we keep all of our tapes. We have video of Mick actually playing basketball at LaSalle High School. He got a big old brace on his knee.
Can you hook me up with that?
Yeah.
That'd be cool to get that and post that on WLSN. Yeah. That's what he had that knee brace his whole senior year.
And he had some hair then.
Not much, but he had a little bit. I know Dan doesn't have any either. Gets it from the old man, I think. Guys, thanks a lot for joining us.
What was this? What did we just do? What was this? What were we on?
Well, yeah, we're getting ready to start here.
Okay, go. You go ahead.
Here we go. Welcome back to WLSN. Guys, thanks a lot for joining us. I appreciate it. George, thank you so much. And Ken, thank you very much.